motivational, and I'm going to be teaching a little bit about the power of love. Don't get all geeked out. Don't get all weird. You're going to really enjoy this. One of the things that people are missing out on is understanding that love is the greatest motivator in this lifetime. A lot of times when you're listening to a lot of these different speakers, gurus, whoever is out there putting out this content, right? And there's a couple main things that begin to happen. And I want to show you how it all kind of boils down. The two biggest things that people will speak out of are these two squares. They're usually faith and hope. And how faith and hope work are, usually faith is tied to belief systems. So you'll hear people talking about your limiting beliefs. You'll hear people discussing about what you need to believe in. And we're going to get into that in a second. And we're going to tear that apart. We're going to really dive deep into what faith and what solid belief looks like. And here's the thing. Here's a key. And I'm going to try not to go there too quickly. But faith will unlock everything for you. If you do it correctly, you have to understand that what you think, what you believe, that's truly what you will achieve or not achieve in this lifetime based on what you're believing. So if you believe whether it's negative, that's what you'll get, or positive, that's what you're going to get. We're going to get into that in a second. I want to really kind of dive in and show you how that works. The second one that people begin to talk about a lot is hope, okay? And understanding hope is the dream. I'm a big dreamer. I love dreams. I love visions. You guys know that and for lack of vision, my people perish. That is always going to be the hope module. And so not downing anything. I just want to show you real quick how it all kind of works, how it ties together. And then why sometimes you have a big dream. You know that you're believing it. You're believing in it yourself. You feel magnetized. You're full of faith. However you choose to look at it, whatever terms you want to use, it really works the same way. There is going to be a missing factor oftentimes that people, I have no idea why they leave this one off, but it is the true essence of whether or not you come into the fullness or the fulfillment of your dream. If you're going into destiny, and I'm telling you, if you're going into your divine purpose, you're going to find that you will either rise or fall, succeed or fail on the last part of this, and that's always going to be love. Okay. Let's talk about love and why it's so important and why it's so critical. A few negative examples of love, I think, is if you look at, for example, number one, an alcoholic. He obviously loves the drink more than he does anything else in his life. It doesn't matter. Kids, wife, husband, you could, anyway, financial stability, all of it goes out the window in order to drink. And it's amazing, right? And we'll look at people and we'll judge people and we'll think, how could they? It's an addiction. And so until they can get that switched around, until you can get that switched around, I don't know who I'm talking to today. If you continually are in a place where you love alcohol more than you love your life, then that is going to ultimately be what consumes you. So what we consume, what we love, we will become. All right, that's what's going to happen. Alcohol, it'll pickle you. It'll take your life. It'll do what it needs to do. Crack, drugs, bad relationships, abusive relationships. You look at people who are continually running after these things, right? This is an amazing thing to me. The love of money is the root of all evil. We'll get into that another day. It's just amazing if you begin to look at what people love. That is usually what you are going to achieve and do, and there's no work to it. You feel me? It's amazing what people will do because they love it. Okay. So the emotion of love is the most powerful emotion. It's a very powerful force. It is a power. Everybody get with me right now. You've got to understand that love is a power. Okay. So what you love, you will begin to use a lot of your inner strength and your inner power to obtain that thing. So if you're using that to go after negative things, think if you are in love with, your process, if you're in love with your faith and you're in love with your dream, how much more easier is it all of a sudden to get into your action? Does that help? Does that make sense? That's where we want to be. We want to be in that place where we actually love our action. If we don't have any action, there's no profit. Okay, so you got to understand that you have to love where your belief system is. That's why a lot of times we've got to deal with some of our stuff. We got to deal with some of the trauma. We got to deal with some of the things, some of the pain, some of the stuff we've gone through in order to really embrace our dream. I was dealing with somebody one day and trauma came up and they just kept crying. And I was training one of our coaches and my coach was like, listen, you're not a trauma counselor. I'm like, listen, I can't coach that person into their dream until they deal with that. So sit there, listen, talk with them, help them kind of get past that. I'm not a counselor exactly, but I am going to make sure that people are able to move forward in their life and to love themselves and to love the things, to love their destiny, love their hope, right? In order to begin to achieve their own personal happiness. That's part of what this whole thing's all about. So we want to begin to track that. You got to be able to love the goals, the things that you're working on as you begin to set strategy and you begin to realize that you're going to have to switch hats, that this hat is not going to necessarily be the only hat that you get to wear in order to get the dream. Guess what? You're going to have to diversify this thing a little bit and fall in love with that process, even though it's not something you like to do. I remember the first time I wrote a book. And I was so angry while I was writing this book. I was like, I'm a speaker. I don't want to write a book. And if you look at any successful speaker, he's written a book or two or 100. You know what I mean? It's part of the gig. And I'm telling you guys, I got a C in English from grade school all the way through college, man. I couldn't stand it. And so, but I love to read. And so I was like, you know what? I'm not going to think of this in terms of research. I'm going to think of this in terms of reading. And that was something I could embrace, right? I could embrace reading. I love books. And so I was like, this period of gathering research, I need to quit thinking in terms of research. And what do I love? I love to read. And so I was like, are you telling me that for the next few months, all you're going to do is read? How fun is that? So to be able to come into a place where your process is about things that you love, and can you put it into then that power will take over. Okay. And you're going to be able to really begin to magnetize. So emotion is so powerful. And so you look at young love, right? When you first fall in love with a boy or a girl, a man or a woman, what happens to you? Fall apart, man. There's nothing you wouldn't do. There's nothing that you wouldn't go through in order to be close to that person. That person can mess with you. They'd mess up your mind. How many people have we seen stay in these crazy relationships and we're like, look, they don't love you. And how can we make that statement so positively? How do we know that? Because they're putting so many other things above that person. And that person continually puts that person above everything else. Unhealthy relationship. Why? Love. And that's what they'll tell you, because I love them. And whether or not you agree with that or not, they are being honest in their assessment. Here's what happens as you get older. We learn to control. Watch me, it's so important. You learn to control the emotion of love, right? We actually begin to get into a place where we know how to kind of turn it on and turn it off. We're not as naive, right? And you'll hear people don't want to tell nobody that I love them because, I'm not going to go there. The minute I start going there, I start vocalizing that, I start saying that out loud, I know what follows. And so we start to be careful with that emotion. Listen, love's not just about people. You want to be able to use that power of love the same way you use your belief system, your action system, setting big dreams and big vision. Listen, love is the greatest of all motivators. All right. Use it to your advantage. So I want to begin to show you guys some more on how that works, how you begin to loop that and put that together with your faith, how you begin to put that with your action and really begin to make your big, hairy, audacious goals and your visions come to pass. We've got a masterclass coming up. I want to invite you guys. Listen, there's a registration button here. Come on and join me. We're going to start to go through this. And we're going to really break down some of these beliefs, make sure that everything's tied together in a way that you guys are going to be able to break through and have an amazing time doing it and see a lot of your visions really come to pass. So their focus really begins to, listen, focus is so big. And we haven't even touched on that. There's a lot of other things that I really want to begin to show you and work with you with. And so the masterclass is coming up. I want you guys to register, get into it. We really want to begin to expand and grow into being extraordinary. All right. Thank you. We'll see you there.